Good day, everyone! Today, I'll be discussing the lesson 10 of our major subject parliamentary procedure, Constitution, bylaws, rules of order, and standing rules. But first, let's take a look at its subtopics because I will not be discussing the first one, which is the Constitution, because it has already been discussed by Ms. Botanas. So let's move forward to the second subtopic, which is the adoption of Constitution. So before a Constitution is made effective, it must be first adopted by the members of the organization. So the big question is how? So how it should be adopted? So if the committee who is assigned or appointed to draft the Constitution is ready, so the committee chairman rises to announce this fact to the chair and proceeds or moves for the adoption to the Constitution. Then after that, the presiding officer states the motion and proceeds to read the Constitution. It's either he reads it himself or he will assign this task to the secretary. So the Constitution is read each article, and after each read, the chair calls for amendments in each article. So after there is no discussion regarding the amendments to each article, the chair calls for another amendment to the Constitution as a whole. If there is no further discussion and amendment or consideration to the Constitution, then let's proceed to our last step, which is the chair takes the votes to adopt the Constitution, which requires a majority vote. And remember that the preamble is read and considered last. Why? Because any changes in the Constitution necessitate a change in the preamble. Another one, the Constitution is made effective after it is adopted, although it makes some reservation to some provision to be made effective at some future time. The next subtopic, amendment of Constitution. So, there is two rules that must be observed in amending the Constitution of an organization. First requisite, previous notice must be given to all members regarding the proposed amendment of the Constitution. It means that during your previous meeting, it should be announced for everyone to be notified that there is a proposed amendment to the Constitution. However, it will be discussed and voted upon during your next regular meeting. Next requirement is the Constitution may be amended only by the affirmative vote of at least 2/3 of the members voting, a majority vote. Okay. Remember, a notice of amendment consists of either of the two. It's either an oral statement or a written statement that be given to your secretary or to your chairperson. Then the amendment of the Constitution are effective upon their adoption, unless some other motion specifies a different time for their effectivity. Okay, let's move forward. Bylaws. So it is defined that a set of rules to amplify and carry out in detail the provision of the Constitution. So bylaws are considered the second law or the expansion of the article and the section of the Constitution's organization. So this set of rules usually covers this following subject. Membership. What kind of membership, the requirement for membership, expulsion na suspension. So in general, how a membership is regained or terminated. Committee, it talks about standing or special committee, how they are to be chosen, their specific duties and powers. Officers to be elected. So it includes or covers under the section the duties of each officers, their powers, and etc. regarding to the elected officers. We have also provisions for regular meeting, and it includes the special meeting, how a special meeting may be called and by whom. We have also financial provisions. It includes the fines, initiation fees, the bank accounts of the organization, so anything, the financial aspects of the organization. We have elections, how and where it to be held, what is the manner in selecting the members of the committee. Then we have order of the business of meetings. We have quorum required for the conduct of meeting. I guess it's already understandable. Kind of vote and notice. Provisions for limiting debates. Procedure for suspending or amending provisions of the bylaws. Holding of conventions. parliamentary authority, and standing or special rules. So these are the subject that usually covers by the bylaws. Okay? So let's proceed to the compare and contrast. So I did some compare and contrast for us to enlighten more the similarities and differences of Constitution and bylaws. So Constitution, I define it as provides basic structure upon which an organization operates. Bylaws, on the other hand, are an expansion of the articles or section of the Constitution. The Constitution, according to a fundamental rule, that it cannot be suspended. On the other hand, the bylaws can be suspended, but only if the suspension is allowed by the bylaws itself. No, if it is stipulated in their bylaws that the suspension, that the bylaws can be suspended. Then there are similarities, adopted and amended in the same manner, and neither of them can be rendered ineffective unless repealed. Repealed means making a law officially invalid. Okay? I hope you understand it. Let's move to our next subtopic, which is rules of order. Rules of order, as defined, that a set of rules contains provisions exclusively related to the transaction of business. It defines the duties and responsibility of the officers during the meeting, the suspension of rules, the consensus of subject pertaining to the order of business, discharge of committees, so any topic related to orderly conduct a meeting. So however, ordinary organization rarely adopt the rules of order because the subject pertinent to rules of orders is already stipulated to their bylaws. Okay. Next is standing rule. So, have you noticed, I've discussed about the subject now covers by the bylaws, it including the standing or special rule. So, standing rule is any policy or rule of minor importance or of a temporary character adopted by an organization to carry out some details of its organization. I have an example here of a standing rule. Now, any member who, without justifiable cause, shall absent himself from any meeting shall be fined of 1 peso, the proceeds of which shall accrue to the special fund of the organization. So that is an example of standing rule. So, a standing rule, it can be created through a majority vote without previous notice, and it can be suspended, amended, and repealed at any time. So let's move forward to our last subtopic of this lesson, the parliamentary authority. So every deliberative assembly must be governed by the general principles and rules of parliamentary law and procedure. So every deliberative, every organization should adopt the work of some reputable authors of parliamentary law and procedure to serve as authority to subject. So every organization should adopt a work of some reputable authors of parliamentary law and procedure to serve as authority to the subject. So another parliamentary source could be rules of the Senate or House of Representatives or judicial precedent of the Supreme Court. It can be another parliamentary source. So in any case, just remember that parliamentary decision must always be within the framework of the laws of the state and must not contrary to public morals or public policy. So I hope you understand my report today. Thank you, God bless, and keep safe everyone.